Hi guys, welcome to our podcast for the LGBT plus History Month. My name is Emma MZ Rose. I'm a loud, proud transgender woman and community manager here at British Esports. And joining me today, we have the lovely Peter.
Hello there. Thank
Welcome
you for having
in.
me.
So Peter, for people watching at home or listening at home or however people digest podcasts these days, do you want to tell them a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, I'm the chair of a new LGBTQ plus events charity called Out Northeast. And we're a charity that will stage events for the community. And then what we'll do is we'll bring health professionals in and organisations that can actually talk and advise the community. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health specialist, I don't deal in anything like that. But what I know is how to put on a good party and a good celebration and a good education outreach project. So our big three projects this particular year are 3-month-long Pride festivals. So not weekends, not days. No, we said let's go for the month.
Okay.
So in June, we're staging Pride in Sunderland, which will have at the moment 18 events, all free activities for people to get involved with. In July, we go to South Tyneside for Pride in South Tyneside. And then in August, we do Pride in Gateshead. Now, 2 of those districts have never had Pride festivals before. Okay. So it's going to be great engaging with a whole new audience and a whole new community. And then the idea is there's an overarching heritage project called Emerald 55. This year's a big year for our community. It's 55 years since the Stonewall riots. For those that don't know, Stonewall was back in 1969. A bar got raided by the police, an LGBTQ bar. And the patrons got dragged outside. And the idea was that they would take the money, the police, because it was mafia money, they would line the patrons up outside where the New York press would be. And then they would take your photo and they'd out you in the paper the next day as a paedophile or a pervert. Great times. But on this particular day, 6 days before, Judy Garland had died. Now, you're far too young to know the impact of Judy Garland. Judy Garland, Wizard of Oz. She's my kind of spiritual mum. Barbara Streisand's my aunt. Eliza Minnelli's my sister. I'm that kind of
That's a good family.
It's a good family, isn't it? It's great. And we'd all, the community had gathered to remember Judy, a fantastic LGBTQ icon and ambassador. And the police raided on the wrong day. And a black lesbian drag king called Stormy DeLavier threw the first punch. There were 6 days of riots, the first time the community had ever rioted, which led on to 6 decades to the road of equality. So the next year, the community met in 1970. That was the first Pride movement. Any time that you celebrate a Pride, it is because of that particular moment. So what we're saying to the communities of South Tyneside, Sunderland and Gateshead, it's been 55 years since the Stonewall riots, but what does Pride mean to you? Now, for me, it's political. It could be the first time that you took mum and dad to a gay bar and said, these are my people, enjoy them. Or the first time you walked down the street in a dress as your true, authentic self. Equally, we don't own the word pride. We've hijacked it, but pride is everywhere. It could be civic pride. You could have pride in your local football club. You could have pride in your favourite game that you play. Or it could be the lollipop person that walked you over the street 30 years ago and now they're doing your kids as well. So we're going to collate all this information over the 3 months of the Pride festivals we're doing. And then next year, LGBTQ History Month, we're staging 3 major exhibitions to say, this is what the community has said. And then the exhibitions get gifted to each local authority for their archives. So we will do the party. We're going to have a dog show. We're going to have a bowling tournament. We're hopefully going to have an esports tournament, as well as cinema and talks, etc. But then there's this interesting heritage project that will be the link to it all. And it will be a political journey because Pride was born out of a need to survive and fight. We're about to enter an election period that's going to be very challenging, particularly for the trans community, as we know. Yeah. So we need to come together as a community and support one another. So that's the idea of Out Northeast.
I love it. I love it. So you're basically a massive facilitator for everyone and anyone.
That's it in a nutshell. Why didn't I just say that? I could
because
have
your answer, your
answers
answers was far better because now people actually know.
Somebody write that down, would you? So
Facilitator.
every time I go into a space and I do that pitch, I could say I'm just a facilitator.
Yeah, I just make sure people feel safe and comfortable.
That's the idea.
But you mentioned something very powerful there, and that's pride has. We don't own the word pride. No one does. Pride can mean one thing to one person and something to something else. So everyone can get involved in the Pride parades. It doesn't have to be because you're a member of the LGBT community. It can be because of whatever reason you want.
Civic pride's massive. You know, we've just today come from the Stadium of Light, and we're working with them, with Sunderland AFC. And the pride that people have in their football team is, you know, it's second to none.
Yeah.
And therefore, let's learn about what pride means to you, because there'll be a connection to somebody within the LGBTQ community. And how do we bring you together? How do we, through this word, this magical, mythical word called pride, how do we bring people together to say that I'm proud of you, you're proud of me? And if we do that, then it sounds a little bit hippie and a bit free-lovey, but it'd be a better world.
Oh, 100%. And if we can do it in football, we can do it in anywhere, because football is massive world known, and it has a lot of its own issues. But if football world can come together for pride, there's no reason why the rest of the world can't.
It's the last sport that we need to crack. Bizarrely, you could have said that rugby was going to be the sport, you know, because it's very masculine, etc. It is the most welcoming space for everybody, for families, for groups. We just need to make sure that we can look at all different kinds of sports and say, including esports, and say, how do we make it inclusive for everybody?
Well, rugby is a tricky one for me, being from Northern Ireland, because I grew up playing rugby, and they actually just recently changed the rules for the Irish Rugby League to exclude 2 trans women from the entire, which is stupid. But if you go to any rugby match or you go to any rugby event, everyone there's so lovely. They just all enjoy the sport, and they all want people to play the sport, and that's it. Whereas someone has now decided, nope, we're gonna change the rule.
And the fans aren't tribal.
No.
You know, you can stand next to somebody from another team at a rugby match, at any sporting tournament, and you find football still has this
home and away end.
Yeah, and a barrier down the middle, and actually it's silly. Passion is a great thing, but passion, when it turns that way, well, that's what we need to sort of like knock on the head a bit.
Yeah, maybe we should start with the Sunderland Newcastle derbies. Let's see how we get on from there.
They're challenging.
They are challenging.
They're a lot of fun. A lot of high spirits. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, very, very high spirits.
See, we're talking about sport.
Yeah,
football,
we got sports.
Rugby, it's great.
Let's move on to something more
You've got a list.
esports. I've got a list of stuff that we need to get through.
That we had to talk about. And I'm so glad you're leading this.
So we've talked a bit about our backgrounds and what we've done. I'm gonna share your journey in esports, about being transgender, and how has it influenced your experience.
Hey, tell us about your journey in esports.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me and is listening at home, I am the first ever trans person to represent Northern Ireland at the Commonwealth Games, winning a gold medal. And then following on with that, I represented Great Britain last year at the European Games, bringing home the first ever Olympic sanctified esports event, silver medal. Still not bitter. I promise I'm not bitter about losing out to Italy in the finals, but it is what it is. I also have a short film that won an award at BAFTA about my journey in esports. So if you want to really know more about me in esports, just go watch that film. It's 14 minutes long. It's paraphrased of all the good bits and bad bits. But basically,
and was your identity an issue in esports? Was it just kind of, well, great, how good are you?
Yes and no. So within the esports community, it was fine, right? We all very much bonded. We all very much became good friends. And like even last week, I was at an event with one of the girls I met at the Commonwealth 2 years ago. So we all stay in touch. But then it was once it left the esports community to like the wider gaming and just generic public, is when we had issues. So I was like, getting like people took pictures with me with their kids and the gold medal, because they're like, oh, I got to watch someone win a gold medal in a football game, which has never been heard of. And then all the tweets replied were like, can't believe you let your kid take a picture with this man in wearing makeup. And you know, I got accused of changing my gender to win a video game. Nuts. Some mental stuff. I was like, yeah, you caught me. Hands up. That's why I did it. So that's the t-shirt. If you can't win, just change your gender, and then you go, no, not true in the slightest. So it's once it meets the wider public. But I mean, that's just being trans in general, right? Yeah. I'm used to it now. I'm thick-skinned enough to admit that people have an issue with me just for being me, and that's okay. It's not my problem. It's theirs. But in esports itself, it's never really been an issue with anyone I've competed against. They've all just been really lovely, and bonded together as a family until we play each other, and then it's just war, right?
Of course.
For those 15, 20 minutes of a game, I hate that person.
And have you trailblazed? Have other trans people now got involved in esports because of you that you know of?
I hope so. I do a lot of talks in schools and colleges, and I've had a lot of kids like reach out to me and DMs and stuff on Twitter to like come out after, you know, they've heard me speak at their school and stuff, and tell them that they want to now make a career, tell me that they want to make a career in esports, and they're not too afraid now because they've seen someone else do it. So I sometimes wake up to very inspiring messages, but that's what it's all about, right? As a content creator, a player, and a community manager, everything I do is to help people like me. Like, I want to be the me that little me never had. And if I can do that, it doesn't matter if I get 1,000 hateful messages, as long as I get one good one. And it could be 1,000, could be 2,000. Doesn't matter how many it is, as long as I will eventually get that one, and then you go again. And that's what it's all about.
It is. With another hat on, I'm director of Pride Radio, which is an LGBTQ radio station, and we're in 127 countries, 67 where it's illegal to be gay, 37 tune into us, 13 where it's punishable by death, 7 tune into us. And we got a message from a trans male in Iran, which is a sentence in itself, who said that if they got caught listening to us, it would be imprisonment or worse, because it is punishable by death. But we were a rainbow in a grey world. Now, Pride Radio predominantly is run like a commercial station. We play Kylie, we play cheesy tunes. It just so happens that our presenters identify in a whole mix of ways. And when we talk about our partners and we talk about our life experiences, we just casually talk about it as us, you know. And the idea is not to be, you know, flag waving and shouty and this is to make it relaxed radio. But whenever something comes up like LGBTQ History Month, or whenever we interview somebody, I interviewed Mel B from the Spice Girls a bit ago, and we did
Scary Spice.
Yeah,
nice.
And she was flogging an app. She was being paid to do a dating app thing. So we talked about all that, but the end question was, and what does the LGBTQ community mean to you? Because we always come back to it. But it is interesting that you get a lot of negativity, and we get a lot of negativity. This is disgusting. Why do you have an LGBT radio station? You know, blah, blah, blah. But then you get that one person who messages in and goes, actually, what you're doing, even though you think it's fun and frivolous and whatnot, is actually life-changing. It does make you think, you know what, the 100 hates that we've got today,
Yeah, definitely worthwhile. And that's such a powerful phrase that you used, or they used, which was the rainbow in a grey cloud, a grey world. That's the t-shirt right there. That is like,
we are so selling merch.
We
for
are,
this
yep,
podcast.
yep.
I hope we're going to write this down. Are we writing
I'm
this
gonna,
down?
I'll write it down now.
Yeah, we're a rainbow in a grey world. Love it.
So Pride events then, you've told us that we're going to have Pride in
Yes.
Sunderland, Gateshead and
South Tyneside.
South Tyneside. How could the esports community, in your opinion, get involved? I know there's a few things that I can talk about, but...
They can get involved just by turning up and being visible and being there and participate and do something that they might not have done and learn something that they might not have learned. So we're going to do a series of political talks and film screenings. There's going to be... We're bringing up a London dance company called Homo Parody, which are run by great friends. They're flamboyant as hell. And they're going to teach you how to do padam, and they're going to teach you how to do all that, regardless of skills. And it's not about embarrassing you. It's about bringing people together from 8 years old to 88-year-old, and bring those who don't identify within the LGBT community, allies, etc., together in one space to have fun and break down barriers. When we do the dog show, it's exactly the same. You know, we can connect via our dogs. If we don't like one another, we'll all gush over each other's pooch, etc. So get involved and be present and show that there is a community there, because a lot of people come along to Pride events and they're questioning themselves. They're questioning what tribes they need to be in. They're questioning what they love and they like. And if they see that there's a group there from esports, that actually it might open a door to them. They might be the socially awkward person who can't play in normal team environments, but have two fantastic thumbs and a brain and can actually play things, but are feeling isolated. Well, it's a chance for them to see a community out there. Not necessarily doing esports, just being themselves, but being branded and enjoying life, etc. It's all about coming together. Then, you know, we're going to speak to yourselves about doing little tournaments and open days and trial sessions for people to get involved. Maybe they'll discover a love that they've never had before. But with any group that we're speaking to, it's come along, be there, be present, have a stall, wave a flag, attract attention.
And have fun.
And have fun, more importantly, but also you might then get one person comes up to you and goes, I'm interested in this. I've never heard of it before. How do I do it? And I'm particularly keen to get the older community involved as well, because there's a lot of isolation within our community. And if they can, some can't leave their homes through mobility issues. And if they can connect with the community online in a safe environment, because online can be dangerous at times, and actually enjoy company, then that makes friendships and it builds partnerships, and going forward, then it gives people a life outside of their life. So there's lots of things that we can do with esports. We're excited about it going forward. Hence, I'm sat here talking to your good self.
I know, right? I'm actually really excited. I want to learn how to do the ba-dum-ba-dum. I'm gonna hopefully I'm gonna have to time my flights over for each Pride event.
Don't worry. I think there's going to be an online as well.
No, I need to be there in person.
So you can zoom
I need
in
to
and
show off.
you can do it in your living room, and we can watch you as well.
Yes.
But it's doing so. I mean, everybody thinks that, okay, Pride, it's got to be about health, and we've got to do, safe sex, and we've got to talk about stuff like that, and we do have to do that. But I like health through stealth. So I like you to come along and dance, and actually you're being healthy.
Yeah.
But while you're there, we've got somebody who can help you if you're having a few mental health issues at the moment, or if you're having a few identity issues, that there are opportunities to drop out and be involved and then come back and participate. And everything that we're going to do is free. Price shouldn't exclude you from Pride. But to do that, we need sponsors, we need engagement, we need British Esports with a big checkbook to jump forward as you are doing, and support activities that the community can get together. So it's challenging, but hey.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great, is what it's going to be. And anything that is easy isn't always worth it, right? You got to put in the hard work, and you got to get through the challenges to make it worthwhile. I think what you touched on, probably the most powerful tool that gaming and esports has to offer, and that's the isolation and the loneliness. I know over COVID, a lot of people turned to gaming. They all got like Animal Crossing and visit each other's islands. They all were able to talk to each other online, and that's something that esports has helped produce a lot more of in recent years, since especially the pandemic.
And there's a lot of people within our community that tend not to go for team sports. They tend to have been the last person to be picked, when they were at school, because they have other interests, and without stereotyping. But there's a more change towards creativity within our community, theatre, performance, etc. And so sport, when I was a kid, used to dread it. I was the last person to be picked, etc. But this esport allows the community to come together in a different way. Yeah. And I mean, I'm old enough. I had a ZX81. You won't even know what that is. That was the first computer that you could buy for home.
Okay.
And we didn't have games. We had a Computer Weekly magazine, and you had 6 pages of code that you had to type in. It used to take 2 hours, and if you got the wrong / or whatnot, it wouldn't work. And after 2 hours of typing it in, a black and white ping pong machine would come up. And we thought that was Brave New World.
Is that not Pong?
Yeah. And then we moved on to Commodore 64s. Again, you won't know.
I do. My dad had one.
Yeah, cartridge games.
Yep. Hey, so, I'm older than you think.
So, when I come along to this amazing building and meet people like yourself who are gold medal winners in what, for me, growing up was Frogger and Pac-Man, now to see that it's a serious sport, it's a serious opportunity, it's a serious money to be made, and it's a career, not just also in playing it, but the backroom team and everything like that. Well, all of a sudden, that makes sport accessible to our community, who might not be able to be the fastest runner on the pitch, might not be able to catch or chase or run, but want to feel that they're involved somehow. And I think esport, as it is opening doors to people, can can certainly open the doors to a lot of the LGBT community who do feel that isolation but want to feel part of a community.
Definitely. It's how you find your tribe. It's how you find your people. You can just jump in a game, be yourself, and none of the rest of it matters. Safeguarding issues aside, toxic people aside, the glory of it is you will find friends, lifelong friends from other communities. You'll get to experience different cultures. You'll get to experience different backgrounds, different members of the LGBT community. You can actually find who you are and be yourself online. And I think that's like literally, beside the communication part of esports, that's one of the most powerful tools that we have at our fingertips, and is only going to get bigger and better.
Man, I know we're going to play games later.
We are.
And I will scream.
Me too. Don't worry.
Are there any zombies?
No.
Good, because
I don't play scary games. I'm a scaredy cat.
I like a game, and maybe off air you'll recommend a game where you build things.
Okay.
I like building a theme park.
Yeah.
Where it's not threatening. Where I can use my brains. I can use my business acumen. I can sort of like move money around. I like stuff like that. I don't want to kill anybody.
It's like Roller Coaster Tycoon and things like that.
Something like that. That'd be nice.
They're good.
So
They're
we'll,
fun.
We'll do a recommendation after that.
What is our next thought?
I have no
So
idea.
we've done pride
We've done
events.
that,
We
we've
kind of done challenging and triumphs. Advice for LGBT plus individuals in esports. I mean, for
Get
me,
involved.
yeah, for me, it's just get involved, right? It's the easiest thing to do. Just be yourself and play games. And if it's something you're passionate about and you enjoy, do it. The esports world, let's call it, has a vast wealth of jobs, career opportunities, and aspects that you can go into. So no matter what you're passionate about, there will be a space for you in esports. And
I mean, you've got a zillion staff
Yeah,
here.
we do.
You've got zillions of people walking around doing things that I don't even know that they know what they're doing.
No, I'm the same.
And that's what you can do.
Yeah.
You can come here and work. But do you? This is my ignorance in the sport. Is it a career? Is it a career for life? I'm not on about making the millions, etc. But I imagine there is that route with tournaments and stuff. But what kind of careers are there? I mean, you need accountants, you need managers, you need all the standard stuff that
Everything.
a business does.
Yeah, everything. So you get all the boring stuff, I like to call it, your accountants and your...
They pay you, love.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We love
We'd be
accountants.
nothing without them. My dad's an accountant. Not really end that conversation there because it's ropey. But yeah, without the background teams of like management and finance and stuff, esports wouldn't happen. But then you can move on to the more fun creative roles where you have like makeup artists, stage design, graphic design, players, content creators, social media managers, community managers like I am now. Like there's literally something for you for everything.
And are you game creators as well? Or is that...
I'm not. So
no, but that's within
you can,
the sport.
yeah. So well, maybe I think people who create games are less into esports than people who play them, because if you make a game, you sort of have like, it's a labor of love, right? You put your whole self into making that game, and then once it's into the public, you kind of have a self-detachment because then it goes and becomes something else. I'm sure a lot of people who do make games still play and compete in esports, but it's probably a different side path. So like once you're in, that's why I like to more talk about like the gaming industry as a whole, because esports is just one far side of it, and then you have game creation on the other side of it, and then you have everything you could ever imagine in the middle, which will cross over to every different aspect. And it's all transferable skills as well. So like you can take your content creation and you can go work for, an ad agency or like a big brand or like fashion. You can literally go into anything.
But is it full of young, funky, trendy people with like berries eating muffins, or can an old man like me come along and go, hey, I want to play?
100%. You can, anyone can. So my first entry into esports, I'm going to age myself on the podcast just for you.
You're not old and fossily, but that was great.
That's what I was getting to. I didn't start esports till I was 30.
Oh, wow, you're 30. See, that's what you do. When somebody says about age, you jump in straight away. See what I did there?
I apologize. You didn't actually age yourself, though. So you just said you were old, but you're not
I
old.
gave up a podcast with Claudia Winkleman for this. We were going to talk about hair products. But look, that's fine.
You should have emailed. I would have been there too. I would have definitely been in.
Here I am.
Look, you look great, Peter. Okay?
Thank you for saying
that. You
that.
look amazing. You don't look a day over 30.
Oh, you're too kind.
I think you actually...
There are faces being pulled behind camera at the moment, but
What were we even talking about now?
People of all
Yeah.
ages getting involved.
Yes, 100%. It's for me, like, I am what's seen as old in esports, right? Because I didn't start. Honestly, I know people who are
Underwear older than you at home, but
I
go
know
on.
people who are 23 and have retired from professional esports. One of them is in a house next door right now. So then he moved into coaching and different things like that. But the professional player aspect is more traditionally a younger person's game because hand-eye coordination and your reaction times and stuff. But ultimately, if you work on anything, it doesn't matter because you'll keep those skills. So anyone can play it. And there's a lot of links now as well with gaming that we want to try and push. Maybe push is the wrong word. It sounds a bit strong, but like introduce to like care homes and stuff to see if it helps with dementia and dexterity. Yeah, 100%.
Totally.
Jinx, touch wood.
Yeah.
You'll make coke.
And is there LGBT representation in games? Because representation is really key to our community. And if we see ourselves, we'll engage. And I know that, in like the sim world and whatnot, you can, and third world or whatever it's called, second world, you can become whoever you want in AI and whatnot. But are there the drivers that you pick, the teams that you pick in games? Is it still very male, female?
Not anymore. So you
could be a turtle.
Yeah, I mean, if you play certain games, you can be a turtle, you can be a dog, a cat. Literally, you can be any animal. But I think a lot of games nowadays are saying that people won't play them if there's not a good, diverse character creation. So for me, like we were talking earlier about how I got into Valorant because it was described to me as gay Counter-Strike. So Counter-Strike is your traditional grayscale man versus man shooter, right? And then, like, you can have female
That
agents.
sounds like a good video.
It's video game. But it's you're very traditional, right? You don't expect much. Whereas Valorant has a lot of female characters. It has non-binary characters. It has male characters as well. So everyone gets involved. And then you get games like Apex that have like gender neutral characters, and even Fortnite has a trans character where you can flip between whatever stage of their journey you want to get to. And then Cyberpunk.
It's so important for
Yeah.
certainly a young person playing it that they get used to seeing this, because what they see then on the game, albeit how extreme it is, they will see it in real life, and it's relatable, isn't it?
Well, that's the whole point. It has to be relatable. And I talked on the podcast before about this. It's like I'm sick of, as a trans person, my story being that I'm a trans person. The story can be about me going to the shop and getting milk and I just happen to be trans. That's what I want to see because it's relatable.
Gold medal trans person, then the story's fun.
Yeah, I mean, we can't have everyone can't be
that.
that.
You didn't wear it today.
Oh, it's battered. I've wore it everywhere. It went on a few sessions. Let's say it got me into an airport lounge a couple of times, so that was fun. But no, it's not in good shape. It's kind of embarrassing to wear out now.
Is it made of chocolate? Is that what it is? It was a chocolate.
No, but it's green now, so we'll not wear it out anymore. It's got a nice place on my wall, hanging up beside my jersey and all framed. So it's got a lovely spot to it. But I think for representation wise, it's less about our identity being the story and more about it just being our identity and the story being the story. And that's what I like to see in games nowadays.
And is the community engaging? Is there a large? Is there a LGBTQ group that meet, or is it that esports is so welcoming that you don't actually need to belong to a group anymore because you can play along?
Yeah, I don't think you specifically need to belong to any specific group. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of groups out there. We have Women in Esports, which is for women and marginalized genders and everyone on top of that. So then we run our own like mixed community and mixed events. So like mixed competitions where you maybe have to have 3 team members of either be a woman or a marginalized gender, and then you can fill the rest with men because they have a lot more opportunities already for them. So we just like to try and even the battlefield or playing field, because it's not a battlefield. Either or, both work. But I think for groups you can, and that's one of the amazing things as well. There's so many different groups out there that you will find people like you who want to play the same game as you and want to connect and grow together. And without the internet and without gaming, you would never have the chance to meet these people.
So will you ever play in a gender neutral tournament? Because I know that you won the gold medal for the female team, but why didn't you win the gold medal just because you won the gold medal? This is gaming where actually your gender shouldn't be an issue because, it's your thumbs and it's your brain and why can't you compete on the same level as anybody else?
Yeah, I agree, and I would happily play. Like, I mean, I think part of the reason why I won my gold medal was because none of the girls wanted to play, like in warm up and scrims and practices. So I went and played all the boys because they wouldn't play each other because they didn't want to give away their tactics. So they would all queue up to play me, which was great. So I got so much experience from that. But I think we were talking off camera. For me, it's a means to an end, right? You don't get to be at the top level without that experience. There's a huge difference. It's a vastly different world from playing in the comfort of your own home, in your office or your streaming setup, or even on your couch in your living room, to playing live on a stage with thousands of people in an arena screaming and shouting, to then millions of people watching at home online, and that pressure of everyone relying on you to do something. So I personally will play in mixed. That's not a problem for me. I won't win, especially not. I didn't win the gold medal, by the way, because.
Can you tell the difference? Because if I was watching a game, if I was watching, computer generated teams playing one another, could you sit there and go, "Oh yeah, that's a man pressing the X button"?
No.
Or that's female.
You take the cameras off, because nowadays it's all, you have your gameplay footage and your person camera, and so you see the person behind the screen as well. If you take that away, there's no way to tell, not a single way to tell.
So there's no edge in somebody's gender about how well they can play or whatnot. So therefore, you would think that this could be the first breakthrough sport that actually does a
open,
off-camera,
officially open,
behind the screen. Don't look at the person behind the curtain. Let's watch the sport.
Yeah, it would be great. It would be great.
There you go. Are you listening out there?
It's just going to take one very brave tournament organizer to do it, and that's all it needs, is one brave person to be like, let's do this and see what happens. It did happen a while ago, and it wasn't great. Put it that way. I can't remember quite what happened, but I know a lot of us girls got slapped. But again, experience. You don't get to have that level of. You don't take like Sunday footballers and stick them in the Premier League and go mix the teams up and be like, all right, we'll play away, because they don't have that level of experience.
Yeah.
They haven't had that coaching, that training, the drills and the mindset of what it's like to do that. So, but in esports, we can easily get there because we have a lot of top female teams. We have a lot of top male teams. Just push them all together and let them
see what happens.
Let them go see what happens. It'd be nice.
Do you still play
dream.
Frogger?
I love Frogger. Frogger was one of my favorite games growing
Scared
up.
me, the crocodiles.
Crocodiles are scary.
Especially the zombie crocodiles. Do you know what it is about zombie games?
I don't like zombie games. I'm a giant moose. So like,
walking around corners and a thing running towards you. No, thank you.
I remember playing Fear as a kid.
No idea.
So Fear was like one of the first traditional, it's gaming, horror games that came out, and there's a part where you climb down a ladder and a little girl comes up and screams and grabs you and you fall down, and that was the last one I ever played, and this is like 5 minutes into the game, so no, it's not for me.
What's next on our list?
Yeah, I know, right? So before we move on to our closing thoughts.
Oh, we're closing already.
Almost. We have been talking for quite a while, I think, right? Have we?
Has it been good?
Yeah.
We're looking at
35 minutes. Brad's just nodding. Yep.
And they're all great. They're falling asleep.
So for you then, Peter.
Yes, for me.
How can members of the LGBTQIA plus community get in touch and get involved with Out North? And
outnortheast.org.uk, or hit the socials, get involved. We're about to launch our whole event schedule mid-March. We're just putting it all together. And just share the messages, share the love. Get involved with Emerald 55. That's really key to us, because it's not just about South Tyneside, Gateshead and Sunderland. We want people from around the UK and around the world to get involved and tell us what pride means to them. Because if we can connect with somebody in Nigeria, for example, who it is the death sentence for them, they're having a terrible time over there. But if we can share that story with somebody who's 3 miles down the road from where we're broadcasting here in Sunderland, and they have similar, not exactly the same, but similar coming out stories of pressure of family and of society, then we might actually connect people. And sharing stories is important, because while there's a lot of information out there, we're losing actually the personal touch.
Yeah.
We're losing the
relatability.
Yeah, these unique things. I spoke to a lovely couple, and they're not a couple. He's an elderly gay man. She's his friend. They were in the late 70s, probably early 80s, and they've been friends for 60 years. And I said, what does pride mean to you? And they said, it's our friendship. We've been through everything. When we were teens, we used to go down to the docks on the seafront, and we'd smile at the sailors, and she'd kiss the sailors for nylons. And he said, and I used to kiss them because I liked them. And this idea that they had these unique stories, which you can't do anymore.
No.
But that they used to go down there, and if a sailor, like they smiled at the sailor, and the sailor would like to smile at the guy or smile at the girl, and they got a transaction out of it, a little bit of fun or some nylons
Paying with kisses.
or some chocolate or whatever. But they were giggling when they were telling these stories. And there they were in the late 70s, 80s. Those stories are going to go. And so we need to collate those stories, but also we need to collate people's personal stories, because then we can transfer it and we can make it accessible to other people, and they can then add to the story as it goes. So get involved and be proud of yourself and do it in a safe way that's safe to you. But get involved and look at things that you haven't looked at before. Look at esports, look at other activities that you might have a passion for but didn't think that there was an opportunity. And if we can tell people that British esports and other organisations like the football club, etc., are welcoming and safe spaces, then it just, that idea, that identity or who you are is a blocker from walking through the door goes out of the way. And you can just go in and we'll have fun. Be like Star Wars canteen with feathers, all are welcome.
I like it. Yeah, I think sharing stories is honestly the most important thing. So like no two people are the same, right? Even identical twins aren't the same. They'll never have the exact same walk of life or exact same story. So sharing individual stories means that you have more sort of archive to take in individual parts. Like, oh, that relates to me. But yeah, sharing personal stories is fantastic. And that's where your relatability comes from. And that's where you can actually start seeing little bits and pieces. That's why I share everything I do, which is, as my closing remark, that's why I've put my whole life is on the internet, my whole journey in esports, my whole transition of being a loud, proud transgender woman. I know that no one's going to go through the exact same things. I know no one's going to have the same suicidal nonsense that I grew up with and depression that I've battled with my whole life. But if you can take any one little aspect of my life to make yours a little easier, to help you push through that next door, then that's why I share. And that's why I feel it's so important that, like, especially podcasts like this and any sort of content and any sort of, you know, your radio show and everything is important. That as to us, it may seem just a bit fun and a bit silly and a good laugh with champagne, which isn't here this time.
Drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly. Always.
Don't spill it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so important to just put those stories out there, because even if it helps one person, that's one more person helped, and then that person can go on to help another one person, and eventually it'll snowball into something big and beautiful, even more so than it already has.
Sounds fantastic. I'm in.
Let's do it.
Where do I get the t-shirt for that?
The snowball one.
Yeah.
Or the which one?
Know.
The snowball one, the thumbs one,
We've got
the rainbow one. Closing marks, buy our merch.
outnortheast.org.uk/shop.
Sure,
where you can purchase all these wonderful things coming to a retailer near you.
Is there anything else you would like to add for a closing remark? No. Well, guys,
I've had enough now.
Yeah, we're going to go to the.
We're going to play games.
We're going to go to play games. Yeah, we're going to play some Rocket League and a little bit of sim racing. Can you drive?
No. Yes, I can drive, but I can't play a video game.
Well, the sim racing is like driving. It's with a steering wheel and pedals and.
Yeah, but I'm automatic. Is this manual?
Yes, but I think we can change it for you. I can't do it. I drive like Mario Kart. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible driver. But guys, if you've enjoyed the podcast, please continue the conversation in the comments down below. Follow us at British Esports or Women in Esports, women_in_esports on Twitter. And where can people follow you?
Out Northeast. Just search that, outnortheast.org.uk. Get involved and be kind in the comments below.
Yeah, be kind in the comments.
Don't
argue.
Look 30. I do.
Only slightly under 30.
Oh, bless you.
Bye.